Hey everybody, it's your pal Mike Zombie, and this week we're going to talk about Tokyo Zombie from 2005. Now this is the second Japanese zombie movie I've seen in recent months. I was invited to sit in on The Zombie Mob a few months back with Vaughn, El Goro, and Root Rot, and we discussed Wild Zero, which is another really fun movie. And so I didn't really know what to expect while watching Tokyo Zombie. But what I was ready to do was have a good time. You know, when you sit down to watch a movie, you have these preconceived ideas of, what it's going to be like and what you're in the mood for. I really wasn't looking to be grossed out. I was looking for a fun movie, kind of maybe along the lines of Wild Zero, and I absolutely got it in this film. Tokyo Zombie starts off in a warehouse in Japan, where they refill fire extinguishers. And in it are the two, I guess apparently sole employees, Fujio and Michon. And they're not doing any work. In fact, they're practicing jiu-jitsu. Looking at them, it's kind of funny. Fujio is fairly tall. I'm going to say he's well over 6 feet tall. And a Japanese guy with a giant fucking afro. So I'm already into it. And Michon, his buddy, is short and half bald. I mean, he would be like the Japanese equivalent of, remember Major Burns from MASH? The same kind of... Major Winchester. Oh, crap. Same kind of hairdo, maybe a little bit longer. They're rolling around on a mat instead of working, and they're practicing jiu-jitsu. And it's fairly evident right away that Fujio is the student, and Michon is teaching him. And Michon is pretty much wiping the floor with Fujio. Their boss shows up unexpectedly, gets pissed, comes in, and starts to insult and yell. He makes Michon wrap himself up in these mats, and then he sits on his back like a pony and starts slapping his head and making fun of him that he's bald. Well, Fujio's had enough and cracks this motherfucker over the head with a fire extinguisher and kills him. And, of course, his toupee falls off. I realized early on in this film why I like these two guys. One, it's dubbed over in English, and they picked really good voice talent to do these guys' voices. The voices, I mean, the guys that acted this out did a great job just doing their characters, but the people who did the audio dubs also did, a remarkable job with bringing these characters even more to life, so that it was great casting all around. I realized why I like these guys. They are very much the Japanese Lenny and Squiggy. They really are. And they're buddies. So they accidentally kill the boss. Well, I guess not accidentally. He cracked him really hard over the head. But they're like, oh, shit, we've got to hide the body. Luckily, in the middle of town is a giant black toxic waste mountain, comprised of, according to the legend, the bodies of the dead, trash, misplaced recyclables, and Lord knows what else. So they go there and bury this guy, and people are coming up out of the ground all over the place. Also, they run into, they spy. Fujio's looking around, and he spies his old teacher down below burying body. And he's like, I'll be right back, and runs down and starts to kick the shit out of this guy. Apparently, he's a touchy-feely kind of a teacher. And Michon won't let this go. He's like, and this is a funny movie, okay? And so he's like fucking with him. He's like, yeah, your teacher, he totally boned you. And he's like, no, shut up. No, he plowed you. He really fucked you good. On and on and on and on, just picking and picking and picking. Just having a good time at his buddy's expense. And they live together, and they're sleeping there, and they have a little curtain dividing them. And Michon is having these really intense stomach pains. He's really having some problems. And Fujio's like, what's going on? He's like, oh, nothing, it's nothing, I'm fine. And basically, Japan just turns into zombies, so they're on the run. So they take their work truck, and they're cruising around. They're headed north. And they're headed north because Michon says, we're going to Russia. We're going to go to Russia, and we're going to finish your training in jiu-jitsu, and we're going to be some bad motherfuckers that come back and stomp these zombies. And they stop at I guess it looks like a school auditorium or some kind of dance hall. This movie's real quirky with the way that these guys interact, because Michon gets up on stage and goes to the microphone and starts singing a song to anybody who could hear, but it's directed to Fujio. And he sings a song. Basically, the lyrics are, the reason why my stomach hurts so bad is because I have stomach cancer and I only have a few months to live. That he found Fujio when he transferred over to this warehouse, and it became his best friend and his reason to live. He appreciates so much the chance to teach him jiu-jitsu. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, fuck, this is kind of touching, that I jumped in expecting a rip-roaring good time, which I was already getting, and then they brought it down and made it real. It's tough to tell your best friend, I love you, if you're a guy. Granted, I don't fully understand and understand very little about Japanese culture, but I can tell you, I was raised as like every other man in my family to show zero emotion whatsoever towards another man. I'm assuming it might be the same over in Japan because he's singing a song and he's trying to get his message across, but he's so incredibly uncomfortable talking to his best friend. They're like, all right, man, well, fuck it. We're going to keep going north. We're going to Russia. And they stop by a store to get some food. And Fujio, of course, runs in, and this ass gets like 10 bags of potato chips and a bunch of bottles of this special type of beer. Comes back, and that's all he's got. And Michan's like, what the fuck? Are you stupid? We got to eat. So on the way back in, he hears a woman screaming help. She's being attacked by zombies at this store. And he runs in and grabs her and brings her back to the van. And he's fighting off zombies. And she's just pissing and moaning and yelling. Doesn't want to be saved. Thinks they're perverts. She's carrying a fucking cash register. She's trying to steal the yen out of the register. And the rumpus going on. He's telling Fujio to start the van and get out of there. He gets bit. I'm sorry. He, meaning Michan, gets bit. On the leg by an old lady zombie. And he's like, fuck, I've been bit. The beauty of this is I've already gone over one of the weird parts that I forgot that I wanted to tell you. Let me jump back a little bit. Before this zombie shit happened, or near the beginning of it, they went to a doctor. Or Michan went, I guess, by himself. I didn't see Fujio. He went in, and the nurse was talking to the doctor, and the doctor's like, yeah, he just has, like, indigestion. Or he's like, he'll be fine. And Michan comes in the room and grabs the doctor and says, I have cancer. I have a pain this bad. Has to be stomach cancer. And he's just shaking him. Tell me I have stomach cancer or I'll kill you. And the doctor goes, okay, you have stomach cancer. So I guess Michan's a little weird. He's got it worked up in his mind that he has cancer. So to him, there's no other answer. When the zombie bites him, trying to save this girl, he gets back in the van and they're still heading north. I guess they're going to Okinawa. Whatever. And he looks at Fujio and says, all right, best friend, here you go. Take care of this girl. She's cute. I've been bit. I've got to go. You'll be fine. Go to Russia, complete your training. And he says, take care of the girl. And driving across the bridge over this river, or I guess it's the ocean, a little inlet, he just fucking jumps out like a torpedo and goes straight on down into the water. So Fujio freaks out, stops the van, can't see him over the side, and gets pissed and decides that the only reason why that Michan got bit because they were trying to save the girl. So he grabbed the girl and tries to throw her over the fucking side. He's like, I don't like you. My friend's dead because of you. Zombies overtake the bridge, and this weird little dude pops up in this van and is chugging all this beer. He's like, I love this beer. And he steals the fucking van right in front of him. So Fujio and this girl have no choice but to jump over the side. The movie cuts to 5 years later. The tale is told that a giant wall has been built. Again, I'm guessing it's Okinawa. Fuck if I know. There's a giant square wall has been built, and a pyramid has been built inside, a pyramid of condominiums and a little arena. All the rich people got together and had this place built so they could be safe. And because they're rich and bored and have nothing else to do, they enjoy zombie fights. The best zombie fighters, their reward is they get to have a condo to live in. Any people that are caught on the outside are brought in as slaves to work. Suddenly, we see Fujio again 5 years later, and he's one of these fighters, and he's hanging out, and he's gotten much better. And he's beating these zombies. He runs into a zombie eventually that just whoops his ass. And he goes home, and his wife, who we've seen a few times, is the girl they rescued, and she is just a stark raving bitch. I mean, just nag, you're worthless, you're dumb, your jiu-jitsu is stupid. And he's made up a little shrine to Michan. He's got a picture there, and he's written some words, which I'm assuming are they don't tell you, but it's treated as if it's like inspirational words or like it's something devotional. And he puts it around the shrine, and he's always talking to Michan, trying to get advice, to his picture. He comes home after getting his ass whooped, and he's decided, I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to do these fights anymore. His wife is just going nuts. Well, if you don't fight, we don't eat, and blah, blah, blah. And they decide to split up, and he's like, fine, fuck it. I'm going to Russia. And they've got a 5-year-old girl, and, and this lady's a bitch to him, a bitch to this little girl. She's just really self-absorbed. He's like, I'm just going to go. So they capture him, put him back in the jail where he fights anyways, and they bring in a zombie that's purported to be the most fearsome zombie in all of Japan, that it took a whole team to capture him. And they're trying to work this up for this crowd. And sure enough, it's Michan. And he's whooping ass. Zombie Michan is whooping ass. Fujio comes down to grab him like, what are you doing? Oh my God, I thought you were dead. And of course, they get into the fight to end all fights. And halfway through, Michan starts talking to him like, your defense is awful, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you're alive. He says, no, I'm a zombie, you idiot. He says, you know what? You need to kill me so that I can be free. Fujio, who's overjoyed at seeing his friend again, but they're fighting, says, I can't kill you. I can't kill you. So Michan brings up the teacher again. He's like, man, your teacher totally fucked you hard. I mean, how's your ass? Did the teacher mess you up? And Fujio goes nuts and just unmercifully pummels Michan, and his face is all... I mean, they did some good CGI. It was purely CGI. There's some great effects on his face. And he says, okay, I'm all fucked up. I'm dying. I'm permanently dying now. Go to Russia. So, sure enough, the crazy idiot who stole the truck in the first place shows up with a bunch of slaves who told him this beer he loves so much is inside. And he brings a rocket launcher and starts leveling this place to the ground. And he runs into Fujio and says, hey, I'm sorry I stole your truck. I feel bad. Let me make it up to you. And gives him a motorcycle with a sidecar and says, go to Russia. He's like, all right. So he goes home to say goodbye to his wife, and they end up making up. And she's like, all right, let's go to Russia. Because the house is falling down. Zombies are everywhere. And this little city, which was safe, is now, of course, very dangerous. So she's like, okay, we'll go. So they all start to ride away. Sure enough, they do a couple of flashbacks, and we see that Michan was actually bit by an old lady zombie with dentures. And was not a zombie, was never a zombie, wasn't destined to be a zombie. But like with his stomach cancer, he got it in his head that he was a zombie, so he thinks he's a fucking zombie. And you're not going to convince him otherwise. And as Fujio and his wife and daughter are riding away on the motorcycle, they have a really great shot at the end of the show of Michan running behind him, almost like, I'm talking like Roadrunner, or like Wile E. Coyote chasing the Roadrunner. And at the very end, he's yelling, you got to finish me off. You've got to finish me off, and leaps through the air towards the motorcycle. And that's where they cut out. Just finished this movie a few minutes ago. I watched half last night, half tonight. And man, I really, really enjoyed this film. I found it funny. I don't know. I hate to say I found this movie funny. I found this movie fun and entertaining. It didn't take itself serious at all. The effects were good, and the story was just touching enough to kind of bring it all home. So I really enjoyed this film. I really did. And I'm now apparently going to have to start really looking into not only Japanese horror movies, but Japanese zombie movies. Like I said, with the guys recently, I enjoyed Wild Zero very much, and Guitar Wolf, thanks to Vaughn. Now, by the way, Vaughn, if you hear this, all the talking we did about how they were the Japanese Ramones and everything else, I'm totally into Guitar Wolf now, thanks to you. And thank you. You can catch this movie on Netflix, and it's well worth your while. Tokyo Zombie from 2005. It's a fun ride. And Wild Zero is too, if you get a chance to see that, but that's a whole other podcast. That's a whole other show. But there's still time to enter the Halloween contest. Easy. Find us on Facebook, A Little Dead Podcast. Hit like on the page itself. Hey, I like this page. And then look for the thread that says official contest entry and just go say hi in it. That way we know you're interested in entering. And that's if you're a new listener or haven't liked us on Facebook. And if you've already liked us on Facebook, and 80-something of whatever you have, just go in there anyway. You don't have to re-like us, but say hello in the thread so we enter you for the autographed John Carpenter, autographed Asia Argento, autographed Clive Barker, and some kick-ass movies, Gingerbread 1, 2, and a sweet book, Night of the Living Trekkies. Good stuff. Anyways, guys, have yourselves a fantastic weekend, a great week after that, and we will talk to you in about 7 days. See ya.